Hello, everybody. I'm your boss, Joe Boss, and welcome to another week ahead trade plan stream. Speaking of, I'll go ahead and start the event over there on Discord. I don't know why, but I've been having screen share issues. Like I click on an output or a region, and the trading view is not ready to screen share. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this started. I got some coffee for myself. A little earlier, didn't have that much sleep. So got a little bit of coffee. Hopefully that bumps things up as far as energy goes here on the stream, but we're going to keep things pretty chill. We're mostly going to be going through a handful of things. I just want to switch over. Okay. Cool. We are set. So, this is what Eurodollar did in the last few hours. It did pretty well on the ECB meeting, right? You can see. Oh, didn't mean to move that. That actually should be locked. Actually, no, that's not correct. Uh-oh. This drawing didn't save. Oh, no. It was 4-2, something like that. I'll have to figure out the exact number again, but I know it was 17-4 something, so I might be off by like a handful of pips. But this was what I traded, and after getting shot here, getting hit here, getting hit here, I think I got hit there, getting hit there. There was a lot of trades. Now, there were other assets I did fine on. And then we had this trade that was going on for a while. I've had a pretty rough last month on Euro, but finally to have something work out on Euro is great. I've had other assets do fine. Dollar Swissy comes to mind. That one did pretty all right. Did I not put the drawing on this, or did my drawing just not sync? But I had a dollar, maybe it's just a bit further back. I had a dollar Swissy long at some point in the trade logs thread for everyone in the trading group. Hello, Ani. I'm pretty tired, actually. I'm pretty tired for this week's stream. Thanks for asking. But man, was that freaking nutty. That looks pretty damn good. I really wish I had dollar short here on Swissy instead of Euro, because, well, I even though I got in way down here, bottom wicked it. Don't get me wrong, it did well. That was 80 pips, but the dollar Swissy side of things, like it was easily an extra 30 pips. So it just goes to show why you should be trading multiple assets and whatnot. So that's what I've been up to. That's one of the main things I've been up to. Now I'm gonna close that. There's a couple of things we gotta talk about. Fall of the Islamic Republic, Operation Epic Fury. Yeah, we have some developments going on right now. In a phone call with Trump, Putin confirmed that Russia remained firmly committed to facilitating diplomatic efforts. Let's see here. All indicators are towards the U.S. Armed Forces and U.S. Navy will launch a massive strike on Iran after markets close tomorrow. The goal will be the final and complete collapse of the Iranian regime before markets open on Monday. And then Lithuania is joining the U.S.-led naval mission in the Strait of Hormuz. And then another guy saying, hey, all the indicators from the regional chatter, the military posture, the intelligence signals look eerily similar to the run-up before the 28th of February, which was when Operation Epic Fury began. Tehran knows it, so do the people closely observing. Says I'd put about a 80% probability on the resumption of hostilities within the next 24 to 48 hours. A news source, a source close to Galibaf, says the U.S. is in a final pre-strike positioning, with the U.S. RC-135W compiling of the target bank for strikes on Iran's oil infrastructure. And Iran will retaliate with a, quote, dual response of direct missile strikes on Gulf energy facilities and U.S. bases. And then we have a video here. A U.S. shipment delivered 6,500 tons of military gear to Israel in the past 24 hours, including thousands of air munitions, ground munitions, and military trucks. The Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei declared on April 30th Iran will retain control over shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, yeah. A senior Iranian official speaking to the Washington Post on April 30th similarly asserted that Iran's security establishment rejects compromise on key matters, such as Iran's ability to enrich uranium. Yeah, there it is. Reportedly remains near exclusive access. Oh, yeah. Vahidi, this guy, he's essentially in charge of the IRGC and is the Ayatollah gatekeeper at the moment. So whether or not the Ayatollah is actually alive or not, this guy would know. Because this is the guy saying, hey, I'm getting my orders from the Ayatollah, but you're not allowed to talk to him. Pakistani mediators told Western media that Iran is expected to send them a revised proposal on May 1st. And we saw that the response to that proposal has not been great. RC-130 Revit joint spy plane heading to the Middle Eastern theater. A potential pre-strike or pre-escalation posture. So there's the plane. So possibly. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an attack over the weekend, which is why I'm flat. I got out of that Euro spot. Actually, I got to check out the stage. All right, cool. Coolio. Let's get right into the trade plans then. Because we got that. Oh, and then there was some tariff stuff. So if I go here and I search tariff. Trump 47 tariffs. Here's what we're looking at. I am pleased to announce that based on the fact the European Union is not complying with or fully agreed to is not complying with our fully agreed to trade deal. Next week, I'll be increasing tariff charges on the European Union for cars, trucks coming into the United States. The tariff will be increased to 25%. It is fully understood and agreed that if they produce cars and trucks in the USA, plants there will have no tariff. Many automobile and truck plants are currently under construction with over $100 billion being invested, a record in the history of car and truck manufacturing. These plants staffed with American workers will be opening soon. There has never been anything like this. Thank you for your attention. So 25% tariff on cars and trucks. And that's why you had this whole shebang on the euro happen. Because this thing would have just kept going up and up and up and up and up. And now you have this hit. Let's see here. Let's look at the week ahead. Actually, one quick little thing. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good with these indicators. All right, so next week, let's look at next week's odds. We're probably not going to get our low here, so continuation odds are kind of out of the question at the moment. Really, the odds are, do we sweep this S1? Do we go below S1 and trade in this area here? Because it's kind of, you got 3 peaks here. You got here, here, and here. With your highest odds right around there. And because we're not getting this, it's, you know, probably a higher weight of seeing the low around here than here. That's the way I'm interpreting it. That's how I'm looking at these charts here. I do want to go to a 6-hour and look at the ranges. Yeah, you can see. So here's the low for last week. I know the chart's a bit busy over here with drawings and whatnot. We can probably hide that, make it a little easier, and zoom in just a tad. But this line here is the low of the week on the euro dollar. And you can see we have a trough in the range probabilities. So this is where the odds drop to their lowest point before rising again. So what I'm just going to do is highlight this spot, and then I'm going to go back to a 12-hour. And you can kind of see where I'm probably going to be going with this, right? So either getting the low down to there, or you're getting some kind of really sharp move lower down to there. And then you get your bounce here or here. One of these two spots. So I'd say it essentially just past S0.5 or just past S1.5, maybe even just at it. So that's what I'd be looking at as a trade plan. And we can timestamp these. Oh, we're now 5, right? Oh, we're now in May. Okay. So that is the trade plan for euro dollar. At the moment that I've got. And let's set up some alerts. No, I want an alert there, crossing the price there, and crossing price there. And we can add one more alert for crossing the low here. So we got 3 alerts for next week, first week of the month. So we can also do month ahead. And for the month, the volatility was quite high, so we have pretty expanded pivots. Relatively. They're not terribly expanded. They are bullish trending. And you can see probability weighted pivot is like way down here. So, okay, not totally sure. Oh wow, that's pretty bearish for the month. So let me just hide all the drawings real quick. When all of your I accidentally moved that alert. When a lot of your odds for this indicator for probability pivots are right here between central pivot are 1. You know, it says 25 and 25, that's 50. So half of the time for the month of May, the top on Eurodollar comes in between central pivot and R1 for the month. I'm not a huge fan of being very explicitly bullish. If we want to kind of have a platter, a choice of different strategies, we can turn on the strategy dashboard and look at what strategies do well. Now, my head is currently here, so let me move myself over here. So let's see. What's a good one here for May? Not great odds here for the bullish or the bearish range. Overshoots though. You overshoot the bearish range a lot more frequently. So May's pretty, and also you hit drawdown a lot less frequently. Except for standard bullish. Drawdown and standard bullish is 12.5%, really. Standard bullish. Oh yeah, that area, but you get stopped out 58.33% of the time, so it's got the highest stop loss rate. Yeah. So it's range bearish that looks like it has the best setup at the moment. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, it's not great. This is definitely something that's got to be done on a more tactical level here. Well, that looks pretty damn good for next week though, right? 39% of the time the top for next week seasonally comes in between R0.5 and R1. Let's see here. Okay. I don't need the dashboard anymore for myself. I can go ahead and flop myself back over where I used to be. So what I want to see next week is the top to come in around just past our 0.5. We can go to a 6-hour. So that'd be probably around here or here. If we do get a more sideways bearish bounce, I'd be expecting something along these lines, right? So if we go up first, I'd want to get short here and then use these as targets, right? like a target 1 and a target 2. It really just depends on which one we hit first. Now, the issue with getting long here is the tariffs, right? And escalation with Iran over the weekend. So even if, let's say, we have worst case scenario and you gap down again, because for every single week for the last few weeks we've had gaps down at the open for this particular asset. Well, you gap down to this spot. If you're a bear, you're now targeting way down here. That's 70 pips. And then things start kind of opening up for, you know, people who are like, okay, this is overdone. Let's go ahead and buy back in. That'd probably be the spot to do it. Maybe around Wednesday. Sometime when earnings are continuing. Because we had some good earnings. A lot of this positive move here. A lot of the positive movement has been equities related movement. So if we get continued positive equities movement into next week, in the second half of last week, I could imagine there being positive counter trend trades to set up there. Yeah, so maybe something like that. And what's the closing odds? Closing odds are pretty flat. Yeah, closing odds are pretty flatly skewed. Okay. Let's do NQ now. Check out the equities. And do unbiased. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. It's going to be pretty capped between S0.5 and R1. But most of the time, that's what's happening. So I'd expect, relative to the current price, a more sideways-ish week. Unless we have some, like, totally bonkers move. Oh, that'd be great. So S0.5, let's set up an alert there. You can see how much more bullish the odds were for this week. And essentially it's like, oh, maybe if we're bullish, we probably want price to stay above S0.5. Now, going into next week, it's like, well, most of the time we always cross this S0.5, so let's look at it. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, nothing there on the weekly ranges at all. So somewhere around here would be kind of the dream. That's how I'm interpreting it. Essentially, you have, let's say, an attack, continuation of hostilities with Iran. That gaps us down. We see continued good. Sorry, I'm a little tired. Continued good earnings into the latter half of the week. And we end up net more or less sideways. So this is what I would kind of like to see, is a move down to here. So let's go ahead and lock that in. And again, it's fine to be wrong on your trading expectations. It's totally fine. The purpose is that you do set trading expectations, so that then over time you can actually compare and contrast and see, oh, was I doing the right thing at this time with this information? Did I actually do all of my research properly? Did I create a decent trade plan? Let me look at my drawings. What were my expectations? Why did I have those expectations? And then over time, as you learn more about the world and more about the assets that you're trading and more about all sorts of different kinds of tools you can use for trading, like these ones here, then you just over time, you make one mistake and then you learn not to make that mistake again. You find one thing that works and then you hammer down why that thing works, and you're really able to use it to the best of your capabilities to make money with it. So let's see here. What else can we check out? Let's go straight to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been holding up. Bitcoin has been holding up. The distribution looks a bit funky here. That's because Bitcoin has really funky volatility. Are we gonna actually have any sort of decent? Yeah, so we're now starting to get decent amounts of historical seasonal data. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went past maybe this spot here. So that's central pivot. And this is 29. And then rebounded later in the month. Essentially range bound. Essentially range bound. Probably actually just take it right to the close. Yeah. Just pick a spot between S1 and R1, and that's your close. Maybe we go up first a little bit and then down, but at some point I expect this to kind of cross that central pivot. So it's a bit of a hit, but not honestly that big of a deal in my mind for Bitcoin. And I'll set up an alert there for that one. We can also check out crude. That's kind of an important one. And let's check out the ranges for crude. Pretty tight ranges. Again, can't necessarily use those monthly ranges, as you can see, or even these weekly ranges, because the volatility comes through and you get this huge historical volatility. So let's try cutting back to like the last 5 years. And yeah, when you trim back the amount of years, you get massively different look at the distribution, depending on the amount of historical data you load. So let's try the pivots here. So for this week, we would have had to made a new high. I'd expect us maybe not necessarily to cross R1. I'd be surprised. Crossing R1 would be a big deal here. So 110, past 110, and you're talking the high 110s on that handle, possibly into the 120s. I'm not too sure I'd expect that. Maybe a pop and then back down. Because a lot of the higher for longer oil narrative, people are fighting against it really hard. The Bank of Japan, not the Bank of Japan, the Ministry of Finance in Japan even said, oh, we're willing to intervene in the oil futures market to try and suppress prices. So there are groups and governments getting involved to make sure, okay, we know coming on the horizon if we do nothing. Because of the hit to oil supply, things are going to be really tight and bad for a while. So we need to do what we can to suppress oil prices. So this is a similar scenario to, okay, when do you fight the Fed? When do you not? When do you fight fiscal policy from governments that are trading the same asset as you? And when do you not? It's not very easy to make those determinations, but when you correctly make those determinations, you end up, frankly, kind of like George Soros. That's what he did, right? Now, he also had a lot of money, and he kind of pushed things a little bit, and, that's just the famous story of George Soros, right? Broke the Bank of England, right? The peg. Those types of things, like pegs, you really need to understand all the moving parts, and sometimes that information isn't completely transparent. And you need to be quite smart to figure out exactly how all that information fits together and makes a viable trade or not. So that's why you guys should get in the damn trading group. Get in the trading group, check out the indicators and all that jazz. Man, this was an unusually bullish week, huh? We're starting to get pretty good bullish continuation odds for that particular week there. So it seems like around 100. We'll probably dip below 100 one more time next week and then go back up. But again, if the United States and Iran are butting heads again over the weekend, you're not even going to get that. You're going to end up here. So I'm just going to hedge my bet and say, yeah, we're ending up here. And then from there, the world kind of figures out what's going on, and then maybe we pull back into the close. Yeah, something along these lines here. Cool. That is the trade plan. Yeah, you can see that the range is... let's see here. 12 times 3. Oh. 360. Oh, now I remember why I was doing that. I need that times 30. 60 times 30. 18.8. Okay. Do we have enough data? No. Okay. 360. So that would be 1 year's worth of data. Let's try 180. Actually, 150. Okay, now we're starting to skew the data a bit more significantly. 120. So the last like 4 months of data. We're on a daily chart time frame now. Oh. Okay, there we go. Yeah. That's starting to look a bit more usable now, does it? When you start skewing the distribution based on the samples. Now, when the volatility gets crazy like this, it does make sense to skew the data to more the new change in the distribution, right? It makes sense that when you're in a new regime and you have a little bit of data, to use data from the new regime or from a historically similar regime back in history to estimate the distribution. So that's just kind of what I've been doing with changing this. This is changing the look back. We're on a daily chart. This is essentially 120 days to look back. 120 is about 4 months of data. So this goes back to end of January. So this is the distribution of returns since about end of January. Again, I wish it wasn't so easy to move these alerts. It's kind of annoying that I can move the alerts without a confirmation. Let's try this. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, I just wanted it at 100. Right. 99.99 is fine too. And we can look at bond yields, TLT. So bonds are going lower, so the yields are still going higher. And we're just holding this right here. Yikes. It really does look like it's going to fall through the floor. And thank God I have that little setting that I can just tick. Alrighty. It's probably the top on yields for the week. Probably see more dip and then another jump. What else could we check out? Nvidia earnings are later. Right, May 20th. That's going to be a big deal. Amazon already had their earnings. Damn, pretty good. ARK, no. GM already did. Ford already did. Apple already had their earnings. Disney is next week. Chevron already had their earnings. I think they had actually, I think it was still interpreted as good because they're doing a lot of investment. Also, we need ExxonMobil. And then Shell. Yeah, Shell's next week. Exxon, Shell, and Chevron are all in on actually a deal. Right here, if I recall. Nah. Okay. We can do a quick check on what's this Sky? Oh, cloud computing is doing really well in the US right now. Holy smokes. And then this is tech software, cybersecurity, AI. AI is still doing really well. Tech, fintech, jets. Ooh, I don't think that one's gonna keep doing too well because jet fuel prices are gonna start climbing a lot higher. Autonomous vehicles, semiconductors, IoT, pharmaceuticals, probably setting up for another drop. Robotics. Consumer discretionary. Probably gonna go more sidewaysy. Wow. Communication services. That one should do actually more all right than not. Consumer staples. Real estate. Real estate's doing pretty okay, actually. Might still be a little choppy, but it should be doing okay from here. Materials. Oh, yeah. Materials are doing okay. Transportation had a huge spike there. I wonder what that was about. Healthcare. Healthcare looks like it's pretty good value at the moment. And utilities, AI companies just keep asking for more and more utilities. Okay. I wonder if there's anything else I should be checking out. Other than that, this is going to be a pretty chill stream. And I can get back to working on some projects that I want to finish and get out the door. Let me see if I actually have. Oh, there we go. This is on my other monitor. I am working on the preview, which is the thing that you see before you actually use the thing. And I'm making all the examples. And this is the last thing I need to do, and I can get this out. I was actually kind of hoping that I'd be able to release this live on stream today as a surprise. But I really want these examples to be good. I don't want to just rush it to get it out on, during the stream. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time today working on this, making it nice and pretty and so exact. And this project will finally be out. It'll finally be done. And I have a whole list of things that are going to be indicator focused that I'm going to be working on. There is going to be one more open source project that I'm working on that's an indicator. And that's going to be an update to the probability cones indicator. Oh. Which is this thing here. This thing. So there's going to be an update for the cones at some point here. I mean, I was working on an update for a good bit. But I'm going to be doing just an update, make sure that all the code's good, make sure it's up to date, kind of finish where I left off last time, and implement the rolling window in there, and also implement a few, maybe the style library in there as well. And probably do that on the live streams. Get that done and looking good as a nice little open source indicator. That it is. And then, let's see. There are a few more features I want to get in for the, the trading group indicators, but I don't want to say on stream. I want to start working on them before I say anything. I mean, I already just announced a different side project that's not PineScript related that I announced in the trading group to help guys with research. And I announced it because I've been working on it for like on and off for the last month, and I finally got it to a stage that I like. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I can commit in saying, okay, this is a thing that I'm working on, and it'll be a thing that's coming at some point that will help with the research end for all asset classes. So equities, bonds, commodities, FX, crypto. Did I say equities? But yeah, it'll be a great research tool. Absolutely. It's going to be a great, great research tool. So I look forward to continuing to develop it and actually make it useful. And there's going to be a few more things I need to work on before I can like actually announce them. But I got a whole little to-do list. Of course, this is kind of how I am. I got a whole little to-do list. And well, this just got to get it done, right? Just gotta work on it. Just gotta get it done. Nothing terribly complicated other than just do it. And Joe, tell us when there's something there, right? So, because I've already made announcements of things that I'm working on before, and then I work on this library, and I work on this library, and I work on this library. And now it's finally getting done. I'm like, okay, let me just, once this is done, when the thing is about to be released or is releasing, I'll talk more about that stuff. And in the meantime, we're going to focus on our trade research. We're going to focus on our trade planning. And also, I think today was pretty good as far as coverage goes. As far as assets, we covered some FX, we covered crypto, we covered equities, we covered bonds, we covered commodities. We covered all the major asset classes here, so I'm very, very happy about it. And we even did some trade research here. We covered what was going on with the tariffs, and we covered the risks around being in positions over the weekend. I am going to actually do one more thing here. I'm going to create an event for... Actually, I think I'll do it for next week. I am a bit busy this weekend, but I want to do the Pivots Pro event again. Essentially, for anyone who wants to learn how to use Pivots Pro or these indicators that are in the trading group. And Pivots Pro is Wayne's Pivots Pro. So if you have this indicator on your chart, we can walk through some strategy. We can walk through some of the settings. We can walk through it and go over how it is, how it works, and also the probability pivots where that can help and assist you, how to, walk you through how to use the stuff. And same thing with the ranges if you want to learn how to do stuff with the ranges or the timing dots, right? Timing dots can be really, really, really freaking useful. But yeah, essentially it's kind of like a walkthrough event. And I don't want to necessarily do it this week, but I'm going to be doing another one. And right now in my head, I'd like to do it next week. So if you're in the Discord and you're hanging out, be on the lookout for that event. And then speaking about indicators and people who want to learn PineScript from me, around the same time, maybe a little bit later than that, like a few days, a week later, we'll have a proper PineScript event as well. Just where we can hang out and I can use some of my tools and my expertise, and we can, in maybe a 2-hour sit down, we can think of some indicators, and I can either tell you like, oh, someone already built that on TradingView because I'm very familiar with the indicators that exist, and just be like, oh yeah, that indicator idea sounds cool, but there's already like 5 versions of it on TradingView. So what's different about these that don't necessarily meet your specifications? Or if there's something more advanced, something new, we can try working on it with AI, because I have a lot of documentation and a lot of good code on my end that I've chucked into an AI locally on my machine that helps with PineScript. It still doesn't do everything that I want it to do, frankly. But, when you're asking for the skeleton of a project, it makes getting set up so much faster. It makes getting to the coding part of the actual brain part of the indicator much faster, and sometimes it really does screw up on handling drawings, and sometimes it draws exactly what you want and makes it really pretty with extra frills and things on top. But yeah, I've had a pretty good success with using AI as kind of like the skeletal thing. The one thing I like to say about it is AI is not a source of truth. The sources of truth are the things that it's trained on. So AI is just a step away from the source of truth, and it manipulates things, and it can misrepresent sources of truth. So you always have to be skeptical of the agreeable outputs of an AI. But, I have no reason to keep this show dragging on now. So I'll just say thank you for watching. And if you want to hang out in the Discord after this, I'll be hanging out in the Discord today. I'll be chilling in there. I gotta run to the gas station, maybe pick up a drink, and then I'll be back. But I'm gonna be hanging out in the Discord today, finalizing that little library. Maybe I get it done today. I would like to get it done today, and then just hang out for the rest of the night. Having a good Friday evening. Having a good Friday evening. And wishing everyone who watches the recording the best as well. Sitting through my ramblings and whatnot. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. More streams probably will be coming back. We will see, but right now I'm going to stick to and commit to these Friday streams. So do not worry about, me being gone for months and months and months on end. If I need to reschedule, there'll be some kind of announcement, but these Friday streams are going to stick around. Okay, you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in a bit.